Okay, this is Microsoft's Lab Prepare Data in Power BI Desktop, and I've already clicked on Launch the Lab, and I've already clicked on Start the Lab, and it took 2 or 3 minutes, and the lab loaded. All right, before we start, I'm supposed to click on this and click Fit Window to Machine. There's not much difference on my machine when I do that. And we need to download the lab files from GitHub to the D drive of this virtual machine. So this will copy the latest lab files from GitHub and configure the directories as needed for the remainder of the lab exercises. You will see a success message once the process is complete. And that should be done in a minute or so. And there's no editing on this video, but you can change the speed to be faster. And interestingly, this lab is the first lab for the PL 300, which is a higher level lab, an intermediate certification, but not currently part of the PL 900, which is the foundational lab. Yet this is the first lab in their series. So I think it makes sense to complete it. The estimated time to complete this lab is about 45 minutes. In this lab, you will commence the development of a Power BI desktop solution for the AdventureWorks company. It involves connecting the source data, previewing the data, and using data preview techniques to understand the characteristics and quality of the source data. In this lab, you will learn how to open Power BI Desktop, set Power Connect, set B.
All right.
This is. Sorry about that. We will open Power BI Desktop. We'll set Power BI Desktop options. We'll connect to the source data and we'll preview the source data. And then we'll use preview techniques to better understand the data. Lab story. This lab is one of many in a series of labs that was designed as a complete story from data preparation to publication as reports and dashboards. You can complete the labs in any order. However, if you intend to work through multiple labs, for the first 10 labs, we suggest you do them in the following orders. This is lab number 1. Exercise 1 is prepare data. In this exercise, you will create 8 Power BI desktop queries. 6 queries will source data from SQL Server and 2 from CSV files. Task 1, save the Power BI desktop file. In this task, we'll first save the Power BI desktop file. To open the Power BI desktop on the taskbar, click the Microsoft Power BI desktop shortcut. Get started. All right. Get any information windows, you can close them. To save the file, click the File ribbon tab to open the Backstage view. Oh, I'm going to cancel out of the email. File, we get to the Backstage view, and we'll select Save. Save. In the Save As window, navigate to the D drive, the DA100 folder, and the My Solution folder. In the file name box, enter Sales Analysis. Click Save. Tip: you can also save the file by clicking the Save icon located at the top left, which is there. It looks like a disk. So that was task 1. Task 2 is set up the Power BI desktop options. In this task, you will set Power BI desktop options. In Power BI Desktop, click the File ribbon tab to open the Backstage view. At the left, select Options and Settings, and then select Options. In the Options window at the left, in the Current File group, select Data Load. Okay, so there's the global. The global group is first, and then Current File group is next, and then we're to select Data Load. The data load settings for the current file allows setting options that determine default behaviors when modeling. In the Relations group, uncheck the two options that are already checked. So we'll uncheck Import Relationships from Data Sources on First Load, and we'll uncheck Auto Detect New Relationships after data is loaded. While having these two options enabled can be helpful when developing a data model, you disabled them earlier to support the lab experience. When you create relationships in the Load Data in Power BI Desktop Lab, you'll learn why you are adding each one. So click OK. Can you get down there to click OK? All right, I hit return. Couldn't get to the OK, but it worked. Okay, so we clicked OK, and now we'll save the Power BI desktop file. This time we'll just click on Save to do that. And that was task 2. Task 3 is get data from SQL Server. In this task, you will create queries based on SQL Server tables. On the Home tab ribbon, inside the data group, click SQL Server. In the SQL Server database window in the server box, enter localhost. It's good to know. In this lab, you'll connect to the SQL Server database by using localhost. This is not a recommended practice when creating your own solutions because gateway data sources cannot resolve localhost. Click OK. In the Navigator window at the left, expand the AdventureWorks DW database. I don't see a Navigator window. Okay, there it is. All right, we'll expand AdventureWorks DW 2020. The AdventureWorks DW 2020 database is based on the AdventureWorks DW 2017 sample database. It has been modified to support the learning objectives of the course labs. Select, but don't check, the DIM employee table. All right, selected it and not checked it. In the right pane, notice a preview of the table data. The preview data allows you to determine the columns and a sample of rows. To create queries, select the checkbox next to the following 6 tables: DIM employee sales territory, DIM product, DIM reseller, DIM sales territory, and fact reseller sales. To apply the transformations to the data of the selected tables, click Transform Data. I don't know how I'm going to do that because I don't know that I can get down to that. That's a little weird. Maybe I can make it smaller. Yeah. Okay. So I'll click Transform Data. Give that a second. Okay. That was task 3. Task 4, preview SQL Server queries. In this task, you will preview the data of the SQL Server queries. First, you will learn relevant information about the data. You will also use column quality, column distribution, and column profile tools to understand the data and to assess data quality. In the Power Query Editor window at the left, notice the Queries pane. The Queries pane contains one query for each table that you checked. The DIM employee table in the SQL Server database stores one row for each employee. A subset of the rows from this table represent salespeople, which will be relevant to the model you'll develop. At the bottom left, I need to move this up a bit. There. At the bottom left in the status bar, notice the table statistics. DIM employee has 33 columns and 296 rows. In the data preview pane, scroll horizontally to review all columns. There they went. Notice that the last 5 columns contain table or value links. Indeed, they do. These 5 columns represent relationships to other tables in the database. They can be used to join tables together. You'll join tables in the Load Data in Power BI Desktop Lab. To assess column quality, on the View tab ribbon, from inside the Data Preview group, check Column Quality. The Column Quality feature allows you to easily determine the percentage of valid, error, or empty values found in columns. For the position column, 6th to last column, notice that 94% of the rows are empty or null. To assess column distribution on the View ribbon tab, from inside the Data Preview group, check Column Distribution. Review the position column again, and notice that there are 4 distinct values and 1 unique value. Review the column distribution for the employee key, first column. There are 296 distinct values and 296 unique values. When the distinct and unique counts are the same, it means that the column contains unique values. When modeling, it is important that some model tables have unique columns. These unique columns can be used to create one-to-many relationships, which you will do in the Model Data in Power BI Desktop Part 1 lab. In the Queries pane, select the DIM Employee Sales query, Sales Territory query. The DIM Employee Sales Territory table stores one row for each employee and the sales territory regions they manage. The table supports relating many regions to a single employee. Some employees manage 1, 2, or possibly more regions. When you model this data, you'll need to define a many-to-many relationship, which you'll do in the Model Data in Power BI Desktop Part 2 lab. In the Queries pane, select the DIM product query. The DIM product table contains one row per product sold by the company. Horizontally scroll to reveal the last columns. When you add transformations to this query in the Load Data in Power BI Desktop Lab, you'll use the DIM product subcategory column to join tables. Oh, here it is, I think. Yes, DIM product subcategory column. In the Queries pane, select the DIM reseller query. The DIM reseller table contains one row per reseller. Resellers sell, distribute, or value add to the AdventureWorks products. To view the column tables on the View ribbon tab, from inside the Data Preview group, check Column Profile. We're going to have no room for anything else. Select the business type column header. Can I even see anything? This is so small. I don't know. Oh, no. Business type column header? I don't even remember where that was. I don't really see an easy way to get any place. Okay, finally to the business type column header. Notice the new pane beneath the data preview pane. Yeah, I noticed I could barely function any longer. All right, let's uncheck that and recheck it now that I have business type column selected. I'm going to X out of that. All right. Notice the data quality issue. There are two labels for warehouse. Warehouse. Let's see that. Oh, okay, I see that. Warehouse and warehouse. Copy. This doesn't really display very with as much space as I'd like. Maybe if I expand it a bit. Okay, now we can see that there is warehouse and warehouse misspelled. Hover the cursor over warehouse and notice over that bar, and notice there are 5 rows. I wonder if I can do that. That's so skinny. Oh, I did. Okay, 5, less than 1%. That's good. Okay. You'll apply a transformation to relabel these 5 rows in the Load Data in Power BI Desktop Lab. In the Queries pane, select the DIM Sales Territory query. The DIM Sales Territory table contains 1 row per sales region, including Corporate HQ headquarters. Regions are assigned to a country and countries are assigned to groups. In the Model Data in Power BI Desktop Part 1 lab, you'll create hierarchy to support analysis at region, country, or group level. In the Queries pane, select the Fact Resellers query. The Fact Reseller Sales table contains 1 row per sales order line. A sales order contains 1 or more items. Review the column quality for the total product cost column. Total product cost is here. I'll give it a minute to think. Okay, and we notice that 8% of the rows are empty. Missing total product cost column values is a data quality issue. To address the issue, in the Load Data in Power BI Desktop Lab, you'll apply transformations to fill in missing values by using the product standard cost, which is stored in the related DIM product table. So that was task 4. Task 5 is get data from a CSV file. In this task, you'll create a query based on a CSV file. To add a new query in the Power Query Editor window on the Home ribbon tab, from inside the New Query group, go to Home, New Query group, we'll select New Source down arrow, and then we'll select text/CSV. In the Open window, navigate to DA100, Resources, and select the Reseller Sales Targets CSV file. Click Open. In the Reseller Sales Target CSV window, review the preview data. Looks good to me. Shrink that down and I'll click OK. No, that didn't do it. You have to make this small enough. That didn't do it. Man. I'm not making this better. Let's be able to grab onto it and do anything with it. Maybe if I scroll down and scroll over. Okay, thank goodness. All right, in the queries pane, notice the addition of the reseller targets. Let's go back. Notice the addition of the reseller sales targets query. The reseller sales target CSV contains one row per salesperson per year. Each row contains 12 monthly sales targets expressed in thousands. Note that the business year for the AdventureWorks company commences on July 1st. Notice that no column contains empty values. When there isn't a monthly sales target, a hyphen has been stored. Hyphen character is stored instead. Review the icons in each column header to the left of column name. Got 1, 2, 3. The icons represent the column data type. 1, 2, 3 is a whole number, and ABC is text. Whole number, text. You'll apply many transformations to achieve a different shaped result consisting of only 3 columns: date, employee key, and target amount in the Load Data in Power BI Desktop lab. So that was the end of task 5. Task 6 is to get an additional data from a CSV file. In this task, you'll create an additional query based on a different CSV file. All right, so we'll try again. Oh, what did we do? No, that's not what we did. No, I don't want that. All right, I want new source, and I want a CSV. And I want the color formats CSV file. Let's see, open. And I'll say, can I say okay? The color formats CSV file contains one row per product color. Each row represents the hex codes to format background and font colors. You'll integrate this data with the DIM product query data in the Load Data in Power BI Desktop lab. So we'll say okay. And now we've added the color formats query. Task 7 is finish up. In this task, you will complete the lab. On the View tab, View ribbon tab from inside the Data Preview group, uncheck the 3 data preview options that were previously enabled in this lab: column quality, column distribution, and column profile. If we want them back, we can come back to the View ribbon and go to the Data Preview area and click them again if we want them. To save the Power BI desktop, in the Power Query Editor window on the File Backstage view, click Save. When prompted to apply the queries, click Apply Later. Applying the queries will load their data to the data model. You're not ready to do that as there are many transformations that must be applied first. If you intend to start the next lab, leave the Power BI desktop open. You'll apply various transformations to the queries and then apply the queries to load them to the data model in the Load Data in Power BI Desktop lab. Congratulations, you have successfully completed this module. To mark the lab as complete, click End. Say End. Great. Thank you.